Any other questions? All right, seeing none, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, this concludes the first hearing for House Bill 108. I'd now like to call up Senate Bill 56 for its first hearing. Here to provide sponsored testimony is Senator Huffman. When you're ready,
All right.
please
Well,
proceed. Welcome.
thank you. Chair Thomas, members of the House Judiciary, thank you for giving me the opportunity for sponsored testimony to Senate Bill 56, which seeks to streamline the administration of Ohio marijuana programs and address several public safety concerns. Many of the provisions in the bill may look familiar, as they are largely reflective of what the Senate passed in House Bill 86 last General Assembly. First, the bill merges Ohio's medical and adult use marijuana programs under the Division of Cannabis Control, which voters recently established with the passage of Issue 2. Consolidating both programs under the division will allow for consistent requirements regarding testing, packaging, labeling, advertising, especially those related to protect children. It also provides for streamlining license standards and general compliance procedures, cutting down on bureaucracy, red tape, and government waste. It is important to note the bill ensures those entities who were issued licenses under Issue 2 maintain their licenses, as many have already been granted and are operational. The bill also addresses several public safety concerns, such as banning public smoking, prohibiting driving while the driver or any passenger is using marijuana, or ensuring homegrown marijuana is not grown at residents that operated in-home daycare program. Senate Bill 56 respects the voters' wanted home grow, but sets a more reasonable limitation of 6 plants per household. Further, the bill clarifies the ability of local law enforcement to investigate alleged violation and harmonize employer protection regarding drug-free workplace policies. Unlike the as introduced version of the bill, passed version would keep the excise tax on marijuana at 10%, just like the initiated statute. And to me, that is something to be discussed during the budget, but would be happy to have further discussion here. Senate Bill 56 also requires the same expungement language in 86. Ohioans who had previously been convicted of a minor marijuana possession that is now legal under Issue 2, Senate Bill 56, may have the conviction expunged upon application to the court. Funding is not currently included in that, as the Senate intends to consider revenue in the budget. In short, the bill is about government efficiency, consumer safety, and maintaining access to voter approval, adult use marijuana. I think this bill, and looking at Representative Stewart's bill, I think it has this kind of the same thing. The theme on it is to be reasonable, protecting children, and to clean some things up in the medical, recreational, and try to harmonize things to make it a better system. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
Great, thanks for your testimony. Representative Calendar with a question. Oh,
Thank you. How'd you know I had a question? I didn't even raise my hand yet. Good to see you, Senator, and you and I have had a few hours of discussions on this over the years, so I won't belabor a lot of points.
Sure.
Just, I appreciate the time you've spent in learning this and drafting, and the dozens, if not hundreds of hours that we spent together last session. There are two specific things I want to ask about in this. The first one is on the tax side, the change of the distribution of funds, specifically the local government. I know a lot of our townships and municipalities have been calling. What are your thoughts on that? Is that a key thing in the bill for you, or?
Chairman, the representative, for myself, it's something that we need to get right. Initially, it was all going to the General Revenue Fund, and the Senate was going to discuss it. The sub-bill put it back as Issue 2 passed it. I do think at some point in the budget or in this bill, we need to address that. And I know that there's other, 5 years at 20%. Should it be 36? One thing after I introduced it, it was going to the General Revenue Fund. Myself and many people in General Assembly have heard from the locals that this would be unfair because they passed they agreed to have the dispensary because they agreed, they feel there was going to be some negative, but the money was going to help them to build a park or do other things. So it is further discussion. I don't really have a decision, but we need to honor that, and for how much and how long is to be determined, in this bill by this committee and the Senate here or in the budget.
Follow up.
Thank you. The second of my three licenses to be issued and the different sizes. It looked to me in reading the way it came out of the Senate that this eliminates the voter approved level 3s and some of the new distribution sites as well, and limits it to a number not a whole lot greater than what's already been issued. And I think I have a couple of concerns there I'd like you to address. And one of the big ones is for the consumer, the pricing. Obviously, supply and demand works as in any industry.
Mhm.
And if you limit the supply by not issuing the voter approved licenses, extensions, dealing with some of our processors now that this will take away the potential for them to get a supply by having a small grow site, the level 3s or something similar. Do you have some concerns about that economically, that will continue to have folks drive up to Michigan or New York because of the price differential?
Chairman, to the representative, absolutely. Not in this bill, but I believe in several years, next General Assembly, the one after that, I think we should totally deregulate marijuana in the state of Ohio, in the sense that we should not have, if we're capitalists, we should let other people have more grow space if they can do it under the current regulations with the number of cameras, the number of security and all that stuff, which would drive down the price. So I don't believe that we're going to tackle that in this General Assembly, but I believe in the future, once the return on equity to the large price and the risk that the current cultivators and others people in the process, because if you can grow it better, then good for you, and that's what we should buy. Or if you can have a better dispensary, that should, we don't grocery store Kroger. Certainly not the number of gas stations in the last several years. So would certainly look at that. But directly to your question, I know we eliminated the level. What would be new would be the level 3, which is a very small growth. And the thought process there was it would be very difficult for 3,000 square foot to compete against 100,000 square feet. Maybe they do have a niche market, maybe a craft brewer, but it's going to kind of be a revolving thing that would be difficult, expensive to regulate.
Thank you. I really appreciate your answer about 2 or 3 years from now, a much more open market. I think kind of thinking when they voted that legalization means. Are you okay working, and I assume you are working with representatives or choosing one of the bills as a vehicle and working with the other chamber to get something that's mutually agreeable? I would be very open to working with Representative Stewart. If this is the vehicle, his is the vehicle, I just believe the important thing is that we get something done by July 1st. And I think that looking at what he has and what I have, I don't believe that things are very far apart. I think that that can be done. And if I may, Chairman, address another topic is the Senate decided to do this in 2 parts. Today we will vote out two different bills. Representative Stewart has a bill where they're combined.
I don't believe there's a right or a wrong way to do it. If the House comes back and says, we're going to put it all together, and here it is, I won't disagree with that. I just, again, I also would tell you, in my opinion, hemp is the more important topic, just because there's no regulation. Bad things are happening to kids with hemp. And so if they both come together in some way, I